G'day everyone, we're here on site and this ceiling fan is coming out. So we're going to be on here on site and we're going to install 1, 2, 3, nope, 4, that's right, 4 downlights. So we're here bright and early on site. We've got our drop sheet set up over the bed, we've got our ladder, we've got our tools, and we've got our voltex cable. We've got our rapid LED downlights. We have me, of course, I'm going to be here to do it. We've got our Milwaukee drills, we've got our plug bases and our hole saws. Now we just need to go and isolate the circuit. So we grab our lockout device, we're going to grab a, where is it, we're going to have a screwdriver, that's in my pocket of course. Alright, we've got that, let's head to the switchboard. So we'll open our switchboard, going to locate the lighting circuit, we'll get our lockout device ready. Isolate the circuit, screw on the lockout device, get our padlock, we'll lock it off, and we're good to go. Let's head inside. So 3930, it's going to be 3930 is 1965, half of that is 982.5, so we want to go 980 off this. I'm going to measure there, 900 in front of me, 1150, so we're at 3050, so we're at 1525, and then 762.5, so we'll go 750 off this wall to get us to about there. Put a little dot there, and then we said this was, I think we said about 980, didn't we? So about there. We'll go 950, and we're always going to check anyway. Tap for timber. Feels clear, but this is also plaster, so there could really be anything around here. So we're going to have our first mark there, which was 750 by 950 we're going off. Which gets us out of the path of the ceiling fan, which is coming down anyway, but if I do put a new one in, which is something we should all consider, but here's where things can be a problem, is this vent right here could be an issue. So 750 we're cleared there, and we go 950 here. Alright, so we're about there. Yep. And we go 750, which is about there. Yep, a little bit shy, so just adjust. There. Remark again because we missed the mark the first time. 950 is about there. Yep, good there. I know there's going to be a timber somewhere around here because this has got to fit in between a 600 bay. Alright, so it's going to be somewhere around here that we're going to have this sitting, right? So I'm just going to be mindful of that there's going to be a timber somewhere around here, but that's why we check with the bucket that we're installing. So that's what this little thing here is for. So we'll measure this, we'll take this little end off, but you do a hole saw. I'll show you when we get the hole saw itself, but you get the radius of the hole saw to be about 40 foot, so 92 mils, so you're about 46 millimeters radius. So your whole hole saw is a diameter, for anyone who wants to remember maths. So diameter is the whole width of the circle across. The radius is from the center out to the edge. So from center, which will be the drill bit, to the edge is 46 millimeters. So I don't really need, that point isn't going to be an issue, because I can always just put it up at an angle. So we can use that corner edge as a guide to go back 46 millimeters, and then bend this piece at 46 millimeters. We stick it up in the hole, give it a good twist and a good spin around. It checks for any timbers. If we need to move it or adjust it, that's what we do. All right, let's get back into marking all this up now. All right, everyone on board? Everyone's paying attention? I will not disappear and not face you this time. They're at 750, 950. Cupboard and the corners. Alright, so here I want to go 950. This is about there, that little crease there on the ceiling. 750 from the cupboard. Just about there. Gone a little bit too far there, but that's why we do it in pencil, so we can always rub it out. There. So also remember, when you're doing horsehair plaster, is that you'll have timber battens that the horsehair gets wrapped onto. So you'll have a timber that sits on the ceiling like that, but you'll have your rafters and your battens on top of that. So you'll have a timber that sits sideways, and you'll have a timber that sits on top, which is what holds the roof together, your trusses and that. So this horizontal timber, 9 times out of 10 when it comes to horsehair, gets in the way. So it isn't a structural design, it's only holding the ceiling up, so it's not structural. So it's going to be screwed on 2 points of where these other timbers are, the timbers that are on top of that piece there and there. So if you cut out the center, it's not really going to affect it that much, so it's not a major thing if you cut through them. But if you cut through the ones that are on top, yes, you are ruining the structural integrity of the ceiling, so don't be doing that. But I just want to double check that we are 950, because I'm a little bit concerned that we're 850. I'll know, you'll know by listening to recordings, but I wouldn't, but we are 950. So we're 750, which is way over there. Right, so we're 750, which is about in line with this smudge here. 950, which is way back here. You want to mark roughly, so 950 mark. You want to get 750 here, which is pretty much in line with that smudge, which is pretty interesting. Mark that, 950. Double check our measurements, check twice, cut once, we're good. Have a tap, see if you can feel any timber. If we can't, we'll jump down. We'll now get our drill and hole saw. So you can get these silicone covers to go over the top of these as dust catchers. Right? You're looking at me through the mirror. Oh, good on your face tracker. I'm over here. Hey. Yoo-hoo. I'm over here. That's a mirror. This is going to be gold. Hey, face tracker. Over here. Thank you. Looking at me through the mirror. As I was saying, so you can normally get like a silicone shroud that can go over the top of these, which just catches all the dust. Fortunately, mine's at home. Forgotten about it. So that's why we got a drop sheet and we got a vacuum. At the end of the day, it's my auntie's house, so we're not too fussed. Alright, so now you're going to want to see this. So you can see from that angle and you can see from this angle. So we grab, we'll wrap it around there because we want it to be past that mark. So we want to also, you don't want to make it tight to the hole saw, you want to go more, right? So we want to be able to take it away from the timbers completely, because you don't know what it could be. So there could be a timber on this side, but there could be a timber on this side.
So you want to make sure that you've got pretty good clearance all the way around, so your springs or the downlight can actually go up into the slot no matter what you do. Because if the springs don't go up, you're pretty much screwed, right? So pinch it there. We know that's going past it, so we'll pinch that. Grab it. You can do this with anything. I've seen some aircon HVAC boys will use solder, I should say. They're sticks of solder that they use for soldering copper pipe together. Any sort of rod, brick ties are a good one as well. I used to use for many years. Those red brick ties, we used to pinch them from construction sites when they were left there. As I said, they were left on site. We didn't steal them without permission. They were left on site, the brickies were done. So that's like that. So now we can stick, once we get the hole made, so I'll bend this back because it's got this little knob on the end. So stick that up in the hole, push that up, spin that round. Once that goes in the hole, and you give it a good twirl, good 180, check, make sure it doesn't hit anything. Go up a bit as well. So go up into the hole, spin and twist, make sure it clears timbers all directions. Spin it on top of the plasterboard, pull it out, your hole's cleared. Check that on every single hole you do, because if you don't do it on every single hole you do, then you run the risk of one being out from the amount of measurements you want to do. Right? So let's start with a go by screwdriver. Go flat blade screwdriver. Let's go to the first hole. We've had a feel, we can't feel any timbers, which would be a blessing, but it's not always going to happen. Punch it through. Make the hole big enough for a drill bit and the bit. Stick that up and in. Spin it. Push it up a bit higher. Give it a good spin. We're completely cleared. We can bring it back out. He says. There we go. What I'm going to try and do is try and break that off because that's getting really annoying. We'll grab our flatty again. As I said, check every hole when you're doing this. When you're doing new build, it's not that big of an issue because you've obviously measured everything around to make sure everything's going to fit. But when you're doing existing homes, if you haven't got access to the roof easily, like no one wants to go around and check every single hole that you drilled when you do downlights. And a lot of times it's not all going to work, no matter what you do. All right, so we check around. Hitting a little something there. I think it's just a loose timber because it's moving. All right, I'm hitting something there. When I go up, no, it's just hitting insulation. So hitting something up there, but it's not anything that's fixed. So we're good for two. So punch this one. That clears, so we go up above the timbers, make sure we're all good, and it does, so it's caught on the insulation now, so it's in the roof, that's good. So we're 3 out of 4, can we get 4 out of 4? Alright, punching, hole, everything's cleared, we are good to drill holes. Now, bear in mind, anyone's got Milwaukee drills knows this problem. That you tighten the drills up, you start spinning with something heavy like a hole saw, and it comes loose. It's just their chuck design, they still haven't fixed it. Just one thing I've found is to tighten it as hard as you can by hand, and a little quarter turn back. It locks it in place, but when you've got a heavy thing like a hole saw, it's just going to keep doing it. There's no way to avoid it, right? So do your best you can. When you're drilling down walls, when you've got extension bits and everything like that, just tape everything up. When you finish drilling and you get through, just make sure you grab a hold of that drill bit as you pull it back up, because the drill will let it go. And that's not what you want, is losing many spade bits and extension bits down walls. But as we go, let's cut these holes, eh? As a dust rag would normally be a good idea, but I don't have it. So when you're drilling in horsehair or any plasterboard, go slow to start. A lot of people just go full bullet. My old boss taught me, if you go at an angle, it cuts a bit nicer, But what I found is if you're trying to do very neat, tight holes, and you got very minimal edging around the downlights, just get a sharp hole saw and you'll have no problems. But the Milwaukee ones are normally pretty good, but I just start slow till it makes an indent, and then you can power through it. So as I said about these ones, these are only the buttons holding up the ceiling. How I missed it, I'm not sure, but it is only one of them. Just onto the drop sheet. So these ones, we can actually power through them, right? Power through it because the downlight will still fit. There is an old pipe above, which I think it's the old VIR pipes, the old ribbon braided cables is there. But they've been disconnected and made safe, thanks to yours truly. Next, word of advice for apprentices: if you're not going to do the safety squint, get some safety glasses. It's just the best way to do it. If you don't have the dust shroud, yeah, get some safety glasses, because a lot of new builds, you won't use it because it's not really worth the trouble having it on, because you're going to make a mess anyway. You're going to clean up afterwards, or a builder will clean up behind you. So don't be too fussed about wearing safety glasses if you've got the dust shroud, but always be safer as much as you can. All right, so start slow. So you'll know as soon as it does, so you'll hear it cutting and you'll feel it. So you feel it cutting, you feel it grab, you know you've made an indent in the ceiling. So I've missed a little side there, so we'll just adjust the hole saw, catch that side. Alright, we've got all the sides now cut, so we can power. Alright, same again, fit another one. And insulation loves a drill bit, just so you know. So we've got a little bit of mess, so drop sheets are your best friends. Always keep a drop sheet, try and cover everything up if you don't have a dust shroud. Obviously, at the end of the day, it's my auntie's house, so it's made a mess of me, it's made a mess of the thing. I'm going to vacuum it, I'm going to clean it up. There's not really much to worry about when it comes to how neat it's going to be. When you're in a customer's house, not family, or not close family, do your best to clean up everything properly, make everything nice and neat, and then, you know, cover everything up. This one's a tougher button. All holes are drilled, all done. So now we can take this fan down, we can run some cables between all the holes. We'll show you how we wire it. We're going to run the cables in now, show you how we all do it, and then once that's done, we'll turn them all on, see how it all works, see if we did okay. Okay. So we'll try and feed this tongue across the ceiling. Try and flip it. Spin it around 180. What it tends to do is it obviously will flicker and it will throw itself along the roof line. Only thing you got to be mindful of is obviously like timbers and different things that could be in the way, like the trusses. The angle of the trusses can be going down. I see I'm pretty close to where I want it to be, so we'll go over and have a look. Hello, Johnny.
Hello, mate. Are you in the roof?
No, not yet.
Why not?
I'm just trying to use a tongue first. I don't want to try and get in the roof. I don't have to.
Do you have to get in there to hook the power up?
Yeah, eventually. Hey, you're on camera right now, so no swearing, please.
Oh, sorry. Who's there?
No one. I'm filming.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
You'll edit this out anyhow.
Yeah.
And I think.
Yeah. Right. Fair enough.
All right.
All good. I will grab that for you, sir.
All right. You won't forget, will you?
I will not forget. I'll ring you when I'm leaving. Let you know where I got up to.
All right.
Thanks, mate. I'll see you soon.
Be finished. See ya, mate. Bye.
Yeah. So the good thing about horsehair plaster is because those battens are on the ceiling, they tend to have a gap where the timbers go under. So you've got the buttons here going that way that are holding the ceiling up, but we've got timbers going that way which are holding the roof up. So what we've got, the benefit is about half an inch on the ceiling line that I can sneak cables down. So I can usually, depending on how lucky I can be, is send cables through this gap, like how so. Right, so reaching up, saying hello. Didn't go where I wanted it to go, but that's fine. Let's try and locate where it is. Aha, on top of the insulation. Put it back to where we need it. Pull out the ceiling, and there you go. So we want to grab a roll of tape. So you want to grab a cable on a roller. Invest in a roller. It will help you immensely to roll cables off. There's two ways to tape a cable to a tongue. Well, there's actually multiple, but these are the two most common. So it's overlap is one way to do it, and the other way to do it is by getting the cable end and butting it up to the tongue. So it's like that. All right, so on my fingers the cable, we put it there, we wrap tape over the joint, wrap tape on the cable and the tongue together, and wrap it around. This is the most common way when you're doing it quickly and easily and you know the cable pass easy. So that's what I'll do. I'll overlap, feed that up into there, and then can pull this across. It's rolling off the thing, knee drum nicely. Comes to here, we need more because we're going to go to the next light. Send it over. That's coming down to you. Can you grab that, guys, while you're there? Hey, can you grab it? Why am I doing all this myself? Fine, I'll do it. Alright, so I want to pull more from there. Pull this down. I've got enough there. I've got too much in that one. The tongue's following me. So we'll pull that back there. So we've got a decent loop. And we're happy with that. We're happy with that. So what I like to do, it's more of a commercial idea, but it just makes everything nice and neat. So voltex cable's got the red stripe on the side. Make your stripes all the same. Get your cables, throw a tape right there. That holds them together. Then about halfway down, put it on there as well. So we can untape this one. So see our little cable flag, can untape it. Untape all that. I don't know how other sparkies feel. I despise tape left on my tongues. I hate it with a blind passion. So I do my best to make sure that I take the tape off all of my tongues. If I see in any vehicle I'm in, whether I'm working for a company or for myself, if I see tape on my tongues and I've got them brand new out of the tube of the van, I get angry. And I'm only a little man. That little man syndrome, it gets everyone very happy and laughing at me. But it's little things. It's little things in this world. It just makes life so much easier for the next time. Because that tape gets in the way. And it makes the tongue thicker than it needs to be, or it makes it harder to connect the cables to. Because there's nothing to grip onto. It's just got tape and it just rips off as you pull it. So, yeah, a little rant, but it's okay. So we can plug base downlight, and we're going to put A&Es to those two, and a cable between those two, right? So we'll get all these wired up, all the cables in place, then we'll go plug base, put the downlights up of these two, and then we'll go in the roof and wire up everything in the roof. We have found it. Slide it back until it goes where we need it. Pull it out. Grab our cable. Let the roller do its thing. Let that come there. And we are almost good to go. What we're going to do is for the next person is we will grab ourselves a texter. I've only got a blue one in here because it's in my other vehicle. I'm going to run on this cable and do this with everything, right? Label everything. It's so much easier when you label everything and make it better for everyone else. This one to be an A&E. Label it twice. A bit higher as well. A&E, because then one thing it does is for the next person, if it's not me, like say my auntie sells this house or something, for the next person who comes in to see that, and they see A&E's written on it, they can then connect to this as a junction point for when they want a permanent feed from somewhere, whether it be a smoke alarm or, you know, a fan that just wants to be remote control, anything like that. They've got a permanent feed here, they've got a permanent feed there, and they know it's a permanent feed because it's been labelled that. Obviously, they need to test it to confirm, but at least then they've got an idea as to what is a permanent feed and what isn't a permanent feed, right? Now, come back here again. We can cut this cable off now. So we know that's the same length we want it to be. Cut it. A&E, which stands for active, neutral, and earth. Do it again, A&E. And here's where it's different, right? So what I tend to label it as, so we label this one SW, NE, and that stands for switch, neutral, earth. So this is not a connection you can tie to get a permanent feed. It's only a switch, neutral, earth. Switch, neutral, earth. Switch, neutral, earth. Switch, neutral, earth. I can now strip this one. So you can get all through at once and strip them. Beauty. Twist. 1.5 and 1 mil I always fold over. Even when I have two cables, I'll still fold them over because the terminals on a plug base, in a light switch mech, it's not too bad. But in a plug base, their terminals are pretty wide. They can fit usually up to 4 2.5s, I've found. So I tend to strip them and fold them over so they get a better purchase, because then what happens is when that screw hits that joint there, is it tends to spread it open. So I'd rather know that it was spread open and it pinched either side on the inside of that screw, so that on the inside of that cable, so that if anything pulled it, it can't be pulled out because the loop's there to hold it in place anyway. Alright, so we can plug base. We're going to get one of these. We're going to get one of these. So you'll have red for your positive pin, your active pin. One that's closed up, which is your loop terminal. So that's for any permanent feeds or any connections you don't need, you can put in there. It's just like a connector inside the plug base, right? You have your earth, your green and yellow, or grello, as I've seen people call before. And then you have a clear one because they don't bother doing it white, but there is an N just written there for neutral, right? So you've got an A, you've got an N, you've got an E, and an L for loop, right? So we're going to use the coloured terminals. So we're going to do red into red. I'm going to use the neutral into neutral, and then we'll go, as they say, grello into grello. Alright, so what I do is I push the cables in so that the double insulation is in the center. Push it down so it sits in that slot nicely, and the back covers go in. So you've got two prongs that'll go in onto the terminals like that. They go in there, and there's a little cutout on every plug base that you can slot the cable in, right? So that way you can secure it with a cable tie if you feel the need. I don't think it's necessary, because at the end of the day it's going to be buried in a ceiling. It's not going to get yanked or pulled. In a commercial building, potentially, right? Because it's a false ceiling, everything's going to get moved around, everything like that. In a domestic dwelling, I don't feel the need. Right, so that's in, that's done, and then we can get a downlight and we can push it up in the ceiling. So we've got the Rapid LED Berlin 90s. This is what we prefer to use when it comes to downlights. We rate Rapid LED. They back up their warranties as well. They're very good products. They last a good while. We find that Rapid LED's prices are pretty competitive, so we tend to stick with them and their pricing. Downlight comes with a 10 amp plug. Right, something simple. Active and neutral pin plugs in. Push it up into the ceiling. So this one's got a color switcher. So we've got daylight, cool white, and warm white. So I always go cool white as general basis, and then if the customer changes, they can do what they want. Hold the springs up, toggle one spring on one side, push the cables up, hold the other one with your thumb, and just slowly guide it up. Don't let them spring up, because what can happen, especially with horsehair plaster, is you can let them go and they'll damage the ceiling, because they hit and then they shift, and then you're left with the ring that it hit on the ceiling. Alright, so put it up nicely, nice and soft, they go in nicely. Done deal. Alright, so there we go. Alright, let's do this one. We'll show you how to do a quick connect, and then we're going to get in the roof and start running all these cables around. Alright, so we've got a quick connect. I'll show you up here so you can see it a bit clearer and at least follow me. Right? So quick connects predominantly are for commercial. A lot of people use them in commercial sites, but a lot of the resi sparkies are finally coming around to them because their prices have gone down. but they used to be double the price of a plug base, so a lot of residential sparkies never touched them. But for the speed that you get out of them in a commercial setup is the best way about it, right? So they come with the 3 terminals. So you've got across the top, so you've got your active cable goes across the top, your earth goes through the middle, and your neutral on the bottom. So all you do is you slot your cables in, doesn't matter which way it goes, so you can have it cable coming in that way, cable coming in that way, doesn't matter. But what you've got to remember, if you've got a single wire, like I've just done there, it's the end of line, right? There is 3 slots on the ends that you can see just there, right? Those 3 slots is where all the end of the cables are supposed to go through. You're not meant to just sit them in there and leave them like that, because potentially someone can get close to the edge and open the plug base up and you've got live cables right there touching you, okay? So you're meant to curve your cables into the holes in there like that, right? So they go in there, and then once it's all in, push them down into the terminals, make sure you've got the right ones the right way, close it up. You got a spot in there for your pliers to grip in there, and then you grab your pliers on the side, push them shut, and you can also got slots in the sides here to throw cable ties through to keep them shut, and also tie the back end of the cables in. Again, it's a residential site, no one's going to be pulling on these cables, so I'm not too fussed about cable tying them shut, okay? So let's show how we do it. So first things first, we'll grab the cable. So we want to just pinch it at one point, right? Then we want to pinch it in another, but make sure that the double insulation is going to be inside the plug base. So I'm pretty close to the edges there, so I might come in just a little bit more. We'll pinch it right there, right? So there's 2 ways you can strip it. You can just peel it like a banana, which is a nice easy way to do it. But if you get skillful with your pliers, you'll be able to do this. So you can pinch it, strip it, crimp it, twist it, pinch it, peel it away. Then you can grab the size just inside the insulation there, rip, peel it off to the sides, grab it off with your pliers, pull it away. There you go, stripped off, no nicks in the cables, no damage, nothing. And you can grab your quick connect. And so I want the quick connect to be facing outside the cable. So again, you just line the colours up, line the terminals up, put your cables in the holes, put it all in there nicely. Once it's in, close this shut. Hear the click on both sides. Just a little extra measure, grab your pliers, just pull, squeeze them together, pinch them nicely, and that's done deal. One quick connect installed. So a lot neater design than what you normally would have, but the benefit is they're quicker, they're not cheaper, but they're quicker to install, and you can get a lot more done a lot quicker than trying to strip it, twist, tie them into terminals, tighten the terminals up. Bang, done, quick and nice and easy. So hence why they're called quick connects. Alright, so let's get the downlight for that one. So downlights on top. Most downlights now will come with this, so they come with a little switch on top. You can toggle between the different color settings. So you'll have a daylight, a cool white, and a warm white on most of them, which is normally about 3000 K. You're about 4000 and 4700, maybe in the 5700s you get around there, depending on which one you're producing. So this one's got 3, 4, and 5700 K, which is your lumen output that these downlights are going to produce. Right? Come to the plug base, your 10 amp plug it in, push your cables up into the ceiling neatly as possible, out of the way, put one spring in, grab the other one nicely, push it up, and done. There you go, nice finished downlight. Now we've got the fun job of going into the roof, disconnecting that fan up there, move that fan out of there, the cables, redirect them over to where they got to go. Once they're redirected, then we can now configure the new wiring, pull the old fan down. My uncle will patch all the ceiling, as you said, he'll patch and paint it. And good on him for 70 years old, he's doing pretty well. He still does all his stuff, he still works hard as a retiree. Alright, so let's get set up to go get on the roof. Alright, it's time to go up. You can't really see much in here. How's this gonna work? I got an idea. I hope everyone can see the extent that electricians have to go to get through a roof. Especially when it's family. Such a love job. Alright. We're in the main part of the roof, which is nice and easy to crawl through. Okay, now we've got to get through that fun bit, which you would have seen in the footage. This is the roof I had to crawl through and dive over top of to get into this section where the bathroom light was just there. Not an easy roof to get into. Oh. Yeah. Alright. So we've got downlight cables ran across here, which I really want to put that under the timber, because over there it's considered non-accessible, so I'm not too fussed about getting that cable underneath. But this one I prefer, because this is a bit more accessible. So we'll just pull this up, we'll tuck it underneath this cable here, put it through there, and just push it back out to the downlight hole just there, and that then keeps it underneath, and it also makes it a nice smooth transition. Alright, so we know the twin's going to reach there. It may reach, it's only just there, so it may reach over there. Alright, let's take all that out of there. So we know we can rip out all this, because all these were A&Es. So we can go snippy, and snippy, and snippy. Alright, so we know that's all done. I need to redirect these earths, because they've got to come back to a prominent location where there's going to be an earth. That SDI is for the fan, which we're not going to keep, so we're going to get rid of that. We have a permanent feed here, which is going to the remainder of the house. This is the second feed, which is more than enough to get at that hole, which means the other one will be fine too. The good thing is we can put it all at one hole, which is what I would prefer to do. This one here, which goes to a junction box in the eave, because the previous sparkies were not very friendly to me, who rewired the place. The twin can go there. This twin and earth is going out to the eave. This is one of those earths I want to pull back. I haven't cut them off yet, which doesn't help. Save some space on cabling in the terminals. So we've already got enough over there. Right, drop that earth into there. Right, let's drop this one into here. Alright, now we've got the fun bit of trying to get out of here. Okay, this is how electricians are born. Oh, you've got to be a contortionist to do this job. I hope you know that, apprentices. You need to be flexible. No matter what age you get to, unless you get out of this industry. Early on, there was a horsehair in my mouth, that's great. Alright, we'll make our way out. We'll go and wire up all the plug bases. We'll disconnect the fan, turn the circuit back on, change the 2-gang switch to a 1-gang, and we are good to leave. I'll see you down there. Alright, so we're back. We're messy, we're sweaty, we're tired. We're back now. Alright, so let's now wire everything up as we said in the roof, and then once all that's done, then we can turn everything back on. Alright, let's go for it. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to relabel this one because it's not a neutral earth anymore. We are now a switch neutral earth. Alright, but what we can do is we can grab the tape, we can tape the cables up. So we've got this extra earth which is going to a conduit, as you saw on the roof, just going across to here on a conduit. So we want to, again, put the actives around the right way, tape them up, tape halfway down, cut everything the same length. So we get all our cables, twist them, snip the loose ends off and fold it over. Start twisting. So this has got 3, so I'm not going to bother folding it over. Plus the earth that I brought in was a 2.5, so I'm not going to bother trying to incorporate that to be a folded over cable. It's just going to make the connections too big. Grab our plug base, black in the neutral terminal, green in the green terminal. My advice for any apprentices who are doing 1mm cables, so the solid core cables, not the stranded, do not over tighten any of your connections. With stranded, you can sort of get away with it with really like twisting your wrist and nipping it up. But when it comes to solid core, I've seen it too many times where I've done it. Every sparky who's watching this now will have done it. Your tradesmen would have done it, where you've over tightened the connections and cable snaps off, and and it takes you usually a while to find it behind the switch because it's not the place you look. And it normally is just sitting there because you've curled the cables up nicely and they're all sitting there waiting to be checked, but they're not moving. So you don't check the switch a lot of times. And it stuffs it up. Downlight out, set the settings to cool whites, they're all the same. Go to your downlight, plug it in, put your cables up, do it nicely, push it up, make sure it's flush on the ceiling, done deal. On to the last one. This is where we'll show you the A&E situation, what we do. So what a twin will do, so on your standard light switch, you'll have a common, a 1 and a 2 terminal, which we'll show you when we're wiring it up. So we've got an A&E coming in. We have a A&E from a different direction, which was the 2 incoming ones. So we want to go label A&E. We want to change this one that we already ran to switch neutral earth because that's what it is. So we are SW, get rid of the A, SW, clear out the A. On the second twin and earth we pulled back from the fan, we'll label that A&E as well. Now twin, what I labeled it as is SWA, and what that means to me, hopefully to everyone else, everyone picks it up, is switch active. So it means there's a permanent feed, permanent active in there, and there is a switch cable in there. Usually anytime you'll see a twin at a light switch or at a light fitting normally is a switch active. All right, so cut them all down the same length, strip the outer, strip the inner. As we said before, neutral and earth, continuous, don't change, right? We don't switch neutrals unless we have a double pole switch, which we don't switch them at light fittings. The neutrals have got to stay continuous all the way around. So you wrap all the neutrals up. Now, here's where it gets interesting. So our switch neutral earth cable, which is this red one here, all right, that one's there, is different from the A&E reds, right? And this is where our twin will come in. So ideally, you want to have them all the same color. So you would want to have this switch neutral earth to be white, but most people will understand once it's wired up how it works, all right? So for apprentices, if you come across a red and a white together, it could mean many different things, but try and understand what it is before you go and touch it, all right? So the 2 twin and earth reds that are not switch neutral earth, they're actives. We want to put it with the red of the twin. So we'll twist all of them together. Snip it off, and they're off to the side. Then the red of the twin and earth that we didn't use and the white of the twin, we're going to twist them together. Now it's only 2 cables, so we're going to twist it all the way to the end. We're going to snip the excess off, and we're going to fold it over. Now, what is going to happen is the reds in the big bundle with the red of the twin is going to send the permanent power from this light up into the roof down to the switch. And then the white is going to send the feed back up into the roof, back to the light, to the red of the twin and earth, which then will go out of this downlight to this downlight, to the 3rd downlight, to the 4th downlight. And so what that is going to do is then it's going to be switched instead of being permanently on. So I hope this makes sense to apprentices. If you need more help, please comment on this video and I'm happy to do a drawing to show you how this is all wired and how this will be configured. I'm here to help. I'm here to show off what we do at Richos. We're also here to help at the end of the day, all right? But if you don't want to wait for me, next day you're at work, ask your tradesman. Ask any electrician, ask any person who knows electrical and how this works. Obviously, get the right advice. Get the advice from someone who's been in the trade or is licensed, preferably. Don't try and guess. Don't try and look online to find other people to teach you. Find a licensed electrician to tell you how to do it, okay? So, the last one, we're at our last plug base, and this is where that loop terminal is going to come into play. We're going to do our terminals, loosen them all off, and we're going to loosen off this loop terminal as well. Now, this plastic is a mold in there. Well, you can see it, so it's a mold, it's all going to stay in there, and you have to break it off, right? Get our screwdriver, stab one of the crosses out, stab another cross out until all of those have disappeared and all that plastic's gone. Try and get it out of there, don't leave it in there. Now that terminal's open. So that terminal there is where our twin and earths and the red of the twin are going to go in that terminal, okay? Going to go in that terminal, and the white of the twin and the red of the twin and earth that goes between all the downlights, our switch neutral earth, is going to go in the active terminal because that is that pin there. Okay, let's wire this up. We've got our reds all together. They're going to go into the loop terminal because all they are is just a connection point for the actives to continue around the rest of the property. They're not needed for this plug base to work. Now, red and white will go into the red terminal, which is the active terminal. We tighten that up. Our earth, self-explanatory, go into the earth terminal. And we try and, although this whole thing will be concealed and it cannot be opened without the use of a tool, we still want to get the copper in these terminals as deep as possible, that they're completely covered, so that if anyone does open this and they try to put their fingers in here while it's live, which you shouldn't, but if they do, we don't want anyone to be potentially killed or shocked off this, right? And what I tend to find, if you've got more than 3 cables inside a plug base, which we do, 3 twin and earths, you tend to find that little terminal, that little gap on top for the plastic doesn't actually fit. What you can do, they design them this way with plug bases, is that they've got these little notches here. They're all around the sides, they're all different angles, so you can actually notch them out. So I tend to notch it on the active side because I want to push the actives further in. So I'll notch that out. Then, as we said, we'll fold everything down, push everything more into the middle. That twin's the most loose one, so that's the one you've got to look out for. You fold everything down into that joint. We take the lid, we go to put the lid on, make sure everything's in a groove, top and bottom. Seal it shut. Make sure it's not going to come loose, give it a good pull. And everything's in there, it's all nice and secured, it's not tight, it's not going to get in the way, and everything's nice and neat inside there. And just for good measure, as we didn't do it before, we'll now wrap some tape over these cables so they're all nice and tight together and they cannot separate from each other and get caught up anywhere. Right, so wrap everything up nicely, that's all done. Put one spring in, hold the other one up, put it in, push it up nicely, done deal. Alright, so downlights are done. We can now take down this fan and we'll disconnect everything, take it all outside, put it in the bin, and yeah, we'll turn it all back on and see how it looks. See how much brighter it makes the room.
I'll shut it down, yeah. I'll shut it down, yeah. I'll shut it down, yeah. I'll shut it down, look. I'll shut it down like a trunk getting closed, and they ain't on this level, bro, you really not close. Even in the summer, told them that it's so froze.
That's there to be patched and ready to go. That's our hole. Now it's time to tackle this, which is going to be fun because I've taken this off many times and the C-clip tends to run away from me because the hole's way too big. And that's what I didn't want to do. So you just saw it happen live. That C-clip just absolutely, partly ruined my day. Okay. Let's just go and work on this then, eh? Now I know there is no potential that this SDI is going to be reconnected in the roof without someone investigating it. No one's ever going to reconnect this cable because the fan's more likely not going to go back in, okay? So we're just going to fold it over, now smother it in tape, because no one's ever going to reconnect it. It's never going to be used again. Right? We smother it in tape, tuck it back in the wall. When you got a switch, we're going to use this one. So on a standard light switch, you'll have your 1 terminal, your common terminal, your terminal 2, which is usually blanked off, very similar to the terminal and plug base, so you can't actually get a cable in there right this second, and a loop terminal. The loop terminal is generally there for an extra connection you don't need, so like that SDI could have gone in there. Or if you've got a active you don't need in there, so when you have two-way switching, you'd have a switch wire there and your straps, but you put your active in there if you don't need it. Or if you just need to get rid of a cable like a neutral or an earth, you just want to tuck it away in a connector and you haven't got one spare. Okay? We loosen off the common terminal, we loosen off terminal 1, we want to grab a pair of pliers, so we're going to fold the red over. So put the red, because our red is our permanent feed, into the common, screw it up, tighten it up, put the white into terminal 1, and then what you have as a result is a standard single gain light switch. Right? And we're going to magically have that on the wall. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a little trick right now. Right? So I'm going to put the cover on, and it's just going to magically attach itself to the wall. Okay, so cover's on. All right, it's there. You can see it's there. And I'm not going to hold it in a second, right? It's going to be right there. Okay, 1, 2, 3, done. See? Told you. I don't know why you doubted me. All right. That's a problem. What's the problem? Come on, you all know this. What's the problem? We didn't go turn the circuit back on, have we? Oh well. Let's come together and go and have a look, eh? Look at magical boards open. Now we got our magical key. Take off the magical lock and the magical lockout device. Switch on the magical breaker. Close the magical switchboard. Make sure it's shut. And we walk into the magical house and go and test our magical work. Oh my lordy lordy! We have lights, sir. My God. How good is this? It can't get much better than this, can it? Oh, I am astounded, I am shocked, I am amazed. It is beautiful. Right, let's turn it off, eh? Yeah? We got clean-up duty. It's a mess. And this is a bit you don't see for a reason because we don't do it. So, yeah, I'm just going to take these and all these important bits and see you later. Alright everyone, so that's us all done. So we've got 4 brand new downlights in here, all nice and neatly done. No damage, no excess issues, no excess holes. This hole here will be patched by John, my uncle, who you heard on the phone earlier. So we'll get it all done, all nice and neat. We've installed a new single gang light switch as well. So ability to switch on and off. If they want, we can also add a dimmer. So we'll take it back to a 2 gang and put a dimmer in. And that's how we do it. That's how you install 4 downlights in a bedroom. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate you tuning in. Keep watching, keep subscribing. Comment on the video if you enjoyed it. If you didn't, if you got any questions, send us a comment. Like the video also. We really appreciate you guys. Have a good one.